Nobody goes to sick call in the military. The VA knows it, and they're counting on you to never file.
How about you? Good, good. I think the struggle's worth the effort, probably, as far as I know. Good, good. Is now still a good time for us to talk? Okay, perfect. Well, thank you for setting up the call and taking. Well, okay. If you hear two dogs at my house, the same thing. They're trying to protect they're trying to chase down a squirrel. Probably is what they're trying to do. Any intruder that comes in, yeah. So same. I appreciate that. Well, the call, it won't take too long. I won't hold you up. The call is designed to answer any questions that you might have. So there's a couple of ways we can do that. You can start off out the gate with your questions, or we can kind of do, I can lay it out for you. I can give you an overview, kind of lay it all out, tell you what's what. How would you like to proceed? Okay. Yeah, perfect. Let's do it that way. So, first off, before I lay out kind of the process, let's tell you a little bit about who we are and what we do, just so it's crystal. So we are a medical evidence company only. And what I mean when I say that, Randy, is we'll get you the medical evidence you need to win the claim. If you've got a valid claim, we'll write you the credible evidence to support it. We build that around a Nexus letter or a Nexus statement, which is the key piece that most veterans are missing. So we'll get you that, but that's all we'll do. Right. So we're not affiliated with the VA in any way. So I'm not a VSO. So I can't submit the claim for you or give you claims advice. We just get you the access or get you the medical evidence you need to win the claim. Mm-hmm. Correct. Yeah. We do everything via telehealth. So everything's emails, phone calls, or online. So it's pretty convenient. You don't have to travel to work with us. But that leaves off a lot of claims. Right? We have to focus on what's seen as credible via the VA for telehealth. So that leaves us working on things like mental health, migraines, sleep apnea, GERD, IBS, claims of that nature. So translate that, your feet, your knees, and your back are probably out of bounds for us. Gotcha. Okay, got it. Good for you. That's awesome. So how we do it is this. So that's kind of who we are and what we do, right? That sums it up. So let me get into the process now. I think that'll answer where you're questioning. So I'll send you a link to our website. I'll send you an email right now, or now-ish. Then that link is to our website. If you want to go forward with us, you'd click on that link. You would put the medical evidence you want us working together on, want us to write for you. You put that in your shopping cart, and then you check out. So it is just like it sounds. It's online shopping. You put the medical evidence in the cart, you check out. It's a web-based credit card transaction, just like you were buying something on Amazon. Gotcha. Great. Yeah, that's great. Good for you. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty common, actually. Yeah. You're preaching to the choir, brother. So I ETS'd out of the Air Force in 1989. I didn't file my first claim till 2019 for some of the exact same reasons you're describing. So, and then to this day, I've never stepped foot inside of a VA. So, I mean, you're in a good, gotcha. Right. Okay. So, to answer your question, you may not need much evidence, because, I mean, think about it this way. For like migraines or headaches, most people self-medicate. They don't go to sick call while they're in the service, right? Because that would be seen as a sign of weakness, or that's the culture, however you want to put it. Hardly anybody goes to sick call unless they got a bone sticking out the skin, right? Or they're ordered to, that kind of thing. So nobody goes to sick call for headaches. But then headaches are a normal, high frequency occurrence amongst veterans. It is overwhelming majority of service-connected veterans have headaches at higher rate than the civilian population, than Gen Pop, right? So that it is something that veterans deal with. They normalize it. They think it's just part of being a human. Well, they receive headaches at a much higher clip than everybody else. So what do? If you didn't go to sick call while on active duty and you suffer from headaches at a very high clip, you get an evidence package like what we offer. So there's really no medical evidence needed. There's not very many tests for headaches, right? So We can write you the medical evidence based on your narrative and any evidence you have. I mean, if you're going in for like pain pills or, sumatriptan or something like that for headaches, then we'll absolutely incorporate that in the report that we write for you. It's all built around a Nexus letter, like I said. So not much evidence needed for that. If you have it, we'll take it, right? But if you don't have it, we could still write you a winning package to help you win the claim. Matter of fact, that's what I did. I got this same package. My first claim was for tinnitus. After I broke the ice, I turned around and filed for headaches, and then went for the mental health claim. So on the mental health claim, same thing. No one went to behavioral health while on active duty unless ordered to, right? Typically. So then these symptoms of mental health kind of manifest themselves over time. It takes a long time of dealing with them before most veterans go get help. So it could be, 30 years between your service and your claim. And you could still win the mental health claim. And you could never have been to any kind of therapy or treatment, and you could still win the mental health claim. So not much evidence is needed there as well. We could write you a fully developed claim package to help you win that claim. Now, most veterans that win mental health with me are at 50%, thereabouts. I mean, we're only writing legitimate, credible claims. We're not maximizing your, percentage. We're not giving you the highest rating. We're writing what's credible, what's evidentiary provable, right? So that's, just know that it's roughly, you'll probably get a 30 or 50%, maybe 70. But 50% is pretty, statistically speaking. Now, I'm not talking about your symptoms. Statistically speaking, it's a bell curve. Most veterans get 50%. Okay. And then headaches, it's a pretty low bar to get headaches at 50%. It's 3 or more a month. Basically, the CFR says frequent and disabling attacks. So there is no actual number there. It's very subjective. But if you have frequent disabling headaches, then you qualify for a 50% award. So if you won both of those at 50, it would pretty much take you to 80, 70 or 80. Yep. Gotcha. So you're describing a mental health condition called insomnia. Insomnia is mental health at the VA. So in addition to, if you have PTSD, I don't know, if you have a valid stressor, you'll get diagnosed with that if you have a valid stressor when you're in session with my psychologist. So if you don't have a valid stressor, it likely could be insomnia that leads to depression and anxiety, or whatever that combination is. It's a soup in there in the mind, right, Randy? And it's our psychologist's job to kind of sort all that stuff out. I can't really tell you what they would come up with, but you're describing a lot of things that, lead me to kind of confirm that 50% rating is likely for you. May not be just straight PTSD. It could be a combination of things, I guess is what I'm saying. Okay. So as far as that goes, so then you would click on that link, you'd put the medical evidence you want us to write in your cart, you check out. Once you complete the checkout process, then you're able to schedule a telehealth visit with one of my doctors. So for the mental health evaluation, it'll be a video conference with one of my licensed clinical psychologists. For the headaches package, it would be a phone call like this with an MD. Then once those appointments are done, my doctors write you the evidence package that you need to win the claim, and then they deliver that to you, and then you submit the claim to the VA, however you get claims submitted. Okay. Yeah, this works great with that. So what you're doing, if you're working with us, you're going outside the VA system. You're getting your own doctor's private medical opinion to help support your claim. And then you'll just deliver that to your VSO and they'll submit the claim for you. So this works a treat for that. Then when you win, you keep everything. So this claim should take you from, like I said, 20 to 80. 90 is a possibility, but I'd rather undershoot a little bit. 80 is pretty reasonable. So then when you get that bump, that's going to take you from roughly the $400 or whatever a month to around $2,100 a month, roughly $22 maybe. So, an $1,800 a month bump in pay. You keep all that. We don't get any of that money. That goes straight to your bank account. Same thing if you get any back pay, whether it's $5,000, $10,000 or $20,000 worth of back pay, it goes straight to your bank account. We don't see a dime. So good for you. Good for you, man. Absolutely. Correct. So yeah, you're connected either on a direct or a presumptive. So I can't tell from what you're telling me if it's direct or presumptive for the cancer. It sounds like it's presumptive under the TARA Act. So TARA is Toxic Exposure Risk Assessment. So if you've seen that acronym anywhere, then they gave you a presumptive service connection for the cancer. So you've already service connected for it, right? And are you at 0 now because it's in remission? So that, yeah. So on the cancer, they're going to pay you at 0 as long as it's in remission. If it comes back, it's going to increase. They're going to rate it appropriately. I could look up according to the CFR what they're going to do there, but it's outside of our bailiwick either way, because it sounds like it's a presumptive service connection under the toxic exposure risk assessment, a PACT Act, basically. Correct. So so we're dealing with the VBA here. So when you go to the VA for care for your cancer, you're dealing with the VHA. So they're responsible for your treatment, your therapy, your care, the radiation, the pills, all that stuff. But when you're dealing with the claim, you're dealing with the VBA, and they want to know, is the condition chronic? So cancer could be chronic, but if it's in remission, it's not considered active, so they drop you down to 0. So the radiation treatment itself, they don't actually, I think they don't actually pay you for the chemotherapy, radiation treatments. I think that's just part and parcel of going through cancer. So the process of going through chemo or radiation is in the active fighting of the cancer. So if the cancer is active, they bump up your pay from 0 to whatever. And then when the cancer is in remission, it drops back down to 0. And either way, we can't help you with it. I mean, and you don't really need our help with it. If I were to charge you something, it wouldn't be credible, because like I said, we're telehealth only. My doctor's not going to be able to examine you or be in the same room with you. So we've got to stick to a very small subset of claims in order for the VA to accept it. And could we get to a cancer claim? We possibly could, but you'd be jumping through flaming hoops to do it. So the working with us for that claim, the juice isn't worth the squeeze, as they say. Mm-hmm. Correct. Yep. So you're talking about the basal cell? Okay. So, yeah, absolutely. So I'm looking up squamous cell right now in the CFR, just so I can make sure I can tell you what they see. I don't know if you've ever looked at the CFR or not. It is a bureaucratic document so it's the rule book at the VA, basically. Okay, so where's trachea? Okay, squamous cell carcinoma of the trachea is rated. Is that rated? So it's just under cancers. So there's no window on it, as far as there's no time limit. It is covered under the Burn Pits and Particulate Matter Exposure Act, which isn't quite as famous as the PACT Act is currently. And then according to your records, 1990 to 2020 off and on, basically. So 30 years. Okay. So you're in this time frame then from August 2nd, 1990 to present day. So you're in the right time frame. You've got the right disease, which is a weird sentence to say. And then so I can't find the code. I'm trying to see what they do for it so I can tell you. Okay. So so there's some disfigurement, scarring, and limited range of motion. That's common residuals for this. So like you were saying on Jim Kelly, if there's a part of your jaw removed, that's going to fall under disfigurement and scarring, and then limited range of motion. So all three of those are rating points that the VBA could use, but under the squamous, it's rated based on the residuals. Okay. So if you have zero so you got 10% for scarring, and that sounds like that's related to this squamous, whatever, however it's pronounced. And then what they do is, if it's for 6 months after treatment stops and the cancer goes dormant, they're supposed to pay you out at 100%. And then while active and undergoing systemic treatments such as chemotherapy, X-ray, or surgery, they're supposed to pay you out at 100% while it's active. So you go to 100% while it's active, and then for 6 months after the treatment stop. Otherwise, it's at 0 or based on your residual effects, such as scarring or disfigurement. Does that make sense? Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. No, okay. Did you catch all that? Yeah. Okay. So what you're actually talking about there is a mental health claim. They don't pay you for pain. You notice the systemic residuals that I listed were disfigurement, scars, and range of motion. So the scarring, they call it painful scar, but it's visible on your public persona. So it's on your neck. So, and it's over a certain amount of square footage or square inches. So they pay you 10%. They don't actually pay you for pain on the scar. It's more of a mental pain, right? So they see pain as a mental condition. So So I would talk about all of this pain due to the cancer residuals. I would talk about that with my psychologist, because then you'll get a chronic pain claim. So chronic pain does lead to depression and anxiety. So now you've got depression, anxiety, insomnia, PTSD. I mean, that 50% rating is looking pretty sharp. Sure. So the whole process takes about 3 to 6 weeks from the day you get started. Yeah, I see. Right.